Hello and welcome to Topic of Games match preview. Manchester United against West Ham United, 4:30 kick-off on Sunday at Old Trafford. Gonzo, kick us off as always, please. What are your thoughts on the Red Devils?
A team in transition, as always, recently, since Alex Ferguson left. They're always a team in transition, it seems, trying to get used to a new manager. He's maybe trying to change the style a little bit, but it's hard to say. As a lot of people thinking he may well get it right. But we've seen this before. There's been times when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer looked like he was getting it right. Times when Louis van Gaal looked like he was getting it right. I think possibly even Mourinho did win the UEFA Cup or the whatever Europa League, whatever we were calling it at the time. I think he finished in second as well. They're in obviously they're playing okay in Europe, but they've just had a 3-0 win against Sheriff. But I do believe they need to get something against Sociedad. He's trying to change the style, mate. I think he's trying to bring players in. Bit of a weird one because he spent all summer chasing a player that did not want to go there in De Jong, of course. And now there's the rumours have started up again that they're going to go back in for him. I think the proof of the pudding's in the tasting, really, Geo. I know there's still some discord, certainly with the discontent, with the fan base and the ownership, which I can totally understand because they leveraged a whole load of debt to buy the club. Basically, they couldn't afford Man United, but they bought it anyway, and the fans are now paying it back. Basically, that's what's happening. So I do understand that annoyance with them, but I still think the jury's still out on Ten Hag so far.
I think in regards to their ownership, I completely understand why Man United fans are annoyed with them as well. It's not just the debt, it's just the fact that they've allowed themselves to be overtaken by other clubs. You look at Liverpool building a new stand. Anfield already got a new stand, building another new stand. They're upgrading their stadium, and they can have a better stadium than what Man United do with Old Trafford. It's falling apart. The training ground's not good enough. And then it's not just the investment or lack of investment in the playing squad, it's also the infrastructure of the football club. And they're looking at these owners, you ain't got a Scooby, you're not just doing good enough. And they aren't doing good enough. You look at Man United over the years, and they've just been a bit of a shambles, actually. As a journalist, it's been a very easy job for you if you're reporting on football. You just look at Man U and say, what's going on over there this month? Because there's always something happening. Pogba has always been in the headlines. You've now got Cristiano Ronaldo this season in the headlines. The owners are always there as well. And it's a club that just needs direction, and they haven't got that at the minute. And the owners aren't doing a good enough job, I don't think. And it's all subjective. I know people, for big fans of clubs like West Ham, will say, well, what are you moaning about? You've been winning the title for years and you're struggling now, aren't you? So what's the big deal? But like I always say, it's subjective, because a championship club like Stoke could say to West Ham fans, well, you're in the Premier League, what are you moaning about then? Yep. But then there's Bolton fans who say, hang on, you're in the Championship, what are you moaning about? Then there's Bury fans at the very bottom going, at least you've got a club, what are you on?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mine's gone. So it's all subjective, it's all relative. For Ten Hag, though, Gonzo, I really like him. I was a big fan of Ten Hag at Ajax when, we've had managers departed over the past. He's always sort of been top of my wish list, if you like, as ambitious as it was, but I think he got more ambitious as time went on. And I think he's the right fit for Man U if they give him full control. And I think they're getting a little bit of a test at the minute with Ronaldo, what they're going to do. Are they going to back the manager? And it seemed in the summer they were, to some extent, backing the manager, which is, it doesn't matter who you are. You don't like it, off you go. He's dropped Harry Maguire as well, which is, Man United fans might suggest it was an easy call because he was out of form, but it's still a big call to make, to drop the captain of your football club, to put him on the bench and say, I'm going to bring in my own guy. He's going in there. And I'm a huge fan of Ten Hag, but it's the first time I think it's a manager that feels long-term for Man U. The ones you speak of, Mourinho, he's always had this sort of short-term feeling about him. He'll come in, he'll do well for a couple of seasons, then he'll go a bit stale, he'll fall out with people, and he'll get a lot of money and bugger off. Solskjaer was meant to be a caretaker manager. Louis van Gaal never felt that permanent. Ralph Rangnick wasn't meant to be. Then it looked like he was going to be, wanted it to be, and he was meant to move upstairs. In the end, he moved away altogether, kind of thing. And it was all just a little bit calamity. But are you impressed by Ten Hag thus far?
The football looks okay. I don't subscribe to your opinion on Ronaldo. I think he's done nothing actually with him. I think that's the trouble when you become indecisive, and whether that's the board pulling one way and him pulling the other, the net result is you when you don't make a decision, you end up doing nothing. And I think he's basically in exactly the same position he was at the start of the season, which is he has got an unhappy superstar player there who really, you do one or the other. You sell him, you get rid of him, let him move on. And Ronaldo wanted to move on, by the way. It was a club that stuck their heels in. We don't know who exactly it was. You either let him move on, or you make him feel a bit special. That's what you're going to have to do if you sign Cristiano Ronaldo. Don't sign Cristiano Ronaldo and then complain that he's got an ego, or complain that he wants to be made to feel special. If you don't know that before you sign him, then you know what, you're the only one that doesn't. So I'm not sure that he's managed that situation well at all, because it's still a problem now months afterwards, and a well-managed situation is not a problem.
I think he is managing it as well as he can. I think it doesn't help when the press feel like certainly some ex-players side with Ronaldo on this. You listen to Roy Keane and stuff, and I heard him speaking the other day, basically saying you can't treat Ronaldo like that. I think, well, hang on a minute. So what's Ten Hag meant to do? Play Ronaldo just because of the name rather than the player? He doesn't fit with what Ten Hag wants to do. Man United are getting results recently without Ronaldo in the team. And when Ronaldo kicks off, basically saying, I'm too good to come on in the last minute, thank you very much. Well, fine, you drop for the next game then. I think he's handling it as well as he can. And I get the impression that Ten Hag wouldn't have been disappointed if he left in the summer. It's just that no other club wanted him. There was very few clubs that said, yeah, we'll have him, given the financial package that comes with him, as well as the ego. And like you said, other clubs have looked at it. I don't know, that looks like a problem, that does, and a very expensive one at that. So you can have him at Man United, and it's one of them that it needs solved sooner rather than later, because this is going to keep hitting the headlines. Every game he does at the start, it's going to be there. They played last night in the Europa League. He started up front, but again, the press conference for the build-up, what are you doing with Ronaldo? Oh, he's in the squad. All right, okay. And it must, for Ten Hag, it must get really annoying continuously answering the same questions about the same player, especially when the team's actually performing quite well. And I think you can say, well, hang on, my results were justified here. He's not playing, yet we're unbeaten in 7 games or whatever it is. We're 4 Premier League games, 2 wins, 2 draws. We're doing fine without him. I don't need him.
I agree with that. But I think he's totally been brought on themselves. As I say, I don't know exactly who's to blame. You don't want the Cristiano Ronaldo show. Pay him off and let him go to Sporting, which is what he wanted to do. Sporting absolutely want him as well. You have to live with that at the point to decide to keep it. And I'm not sure is that bigger. There's this big thing about selling shirts. I'm not sure that many people are buying Manchester United Ronaldo shirts, because they probably all know he's not going to be there long term.
Rubbish. I reckon it's still the top sold shirt in European football. It'll be up there with the Messi, the PSG shirt. Oh, he'll still be selling his shirts.
Well, I'm not sure it is. But let's go with what you say is true. If that's true, then you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You've made a financial decision. You're keeping him for financial reasons. If that's the case, because he's got the biggest selling shirt in Europe, you're going to have to take the fact that you can't have it both ways. You can't say I'm keeping him because he's the biggest name and most important player in European football who's going to get the shirt sales. Oh, and by the way, I don't want the questions about him at the press conference. That doesn't cut it for me.
Yeah, but Ten Hag's not necessarily one saying I'll keep him for the money, please. He's the one that's saying I'll keep him, but he's my second choice striker at the minute. That's that. This is the tug of war, isn't it? It's the boardroom level. It says, oh no, he's good for the club commercially, but Ten Hag's job's to win the games, not to worry about the budget. That's not his gig. That's the people above him. They worry about the finances adding up. His job's to manage the team and get results. He's doing that, but he's got this problem sat on the bench, which is an expensive problem and one that gets a lot of attention. And I know what you're saying. Yes, they've decided to keep him, but when I say they, I'm not 100% convinced Ten Hag is the one that decided to keep him. It's just they couldn't get rid of him. And I know what you're saying. Sporting wanted him back, fine. But you also said, well, pay him off. Well, they don't want to pay him off. It's an expensive thing to do to pay Cristiano Ronaldo off.
Then own the problem. That's the issue with it.
They can't have it both ways. Bench.
Yeah, but and that's fine. But I think it will ultimately cause disruption in the club. I think you've got an unhappy player in the club. I think it causes I just don't think you can do all that and say bench him and the rest of it, then complain at the press it gets, because you can't treat him like a normal player. He's not. He's just not. He is a superstar. He's transcended. There are not many players in world football who can walk around. Let's take America. The NFL is king. Nothing even comes close. There's probably not many footballers who can walk around the United States and get recognised. He's one of them. He's a global superstar, and I think you can't pick and choose when he's a global superstar. And I think if you then take him and you are going to bench him, and don't get me wrong, I don't think he warrants a place in Man United's team all the time. So it's not that I'm arguing, but it is the handling of the situation. It's fine, but what you want to do is handle him as a regular player. No, he's just a squad player. He's my second choice striker. That's fine. But what you can't do is close your ears to all the noise, which is globally, which actually is also a superstar. You can't have it. You can't have it both ways. There is going to be some press on that, and you're going to have to accept it, because you know what? You've taken the dollar for that anyway. You're taking the money because he is a superstar in the shirt sales and everything else. So I just don't have any sympathy on it, none at all.
I think it's part of the problem, Man U, over the years between Fergie and Ten Hag, which is they've allowed that to happen. Though they've pandered to the means of certain players like Paul Pogba, for example. Yeah. And the brand Pogba has almost felt bigger than the brand Manchester United at times. I think that's the exact thing they needed to get away from in Ten Hag. I think that's what Ten Hag's trying to bring into Man U, which is what Fergie essentially had, which is no player is bigger than the club. You don't want to be here, do one, and I'll work with the players I want here. And I think that's the road he's trying to go down. But this is why I think he's the right manager would be. He needs to be backed. And when I say backed, I don't just mean money, I mean with time, which is this is a 2 or 3 year project. We'll judge him in 2 or 3 years' time, not at the end of this season. Of course, between now and then, he's got to come up with something. But I think they're heading in the right direction. Yes, no question, because we've had a Ronaldo debate. Do you think they'll get top 4 football?
No.
Will they win any trophies?
Possibly.
Which one? Take a punt. League Cup, FA Cup, Europa League.
FA Cup.
I think they might go for the Europa League. They will. I think they might. I think they might go for the Europa League because it guarantees Champions League qualification as well. So top 4, I'm going to say no. Win a trophy. I'm going to say yes. I've got a feeling they'll go for the Europa League. Anyway, this video is sponsored by SPITCH, which is the Fantasy Football League. There's no Champions League. It's the Fantasy Football League. It's a fantasy football app which you can download for free. Sign up for free, but there's paid-to-play games on there. If you think you're good enough to win some cash, get your stake down. It'll cost £1.70 to play the classic Premier League game this weekend with a top prize of £50, which may increase as more people join. However, the top 25% gets paid out. So if there's 400 people enter, you finish 100, you get paid out. You get money. You make a small profit this week. So, Gonzo, would you like to see my starting 11?
Show me your starting 11.
Which comes with a disclaimer. It may change. I am waiting for Erling Haaland news from Pep Guardiola today, as he's got a bit of a knock. So I got my team without him, though. This is my team thus far. I've got Pickford in goal. Got my back 3 of Ben White, Kieran Trippier, and Anderson of Crystal Palace. I've finally decided that I've just had to confess that Almiron's just having a good season. So I brought him in for this one alongside De Bruyne, Højbjerg, and Odegaard. And up front, I've gone with Raheem Sterling, Harry Kane, and Nunez. But like I said, I may alter it a little bit.
Sure. I like it. Not the full climb down.
Anyway, while you do join up to SPITCH, you can download the app by clicking the link in the description. But head over to the community, search Hammers Chat, and make sure you join in as me and Gonzo go head-to-head every single week. Right, Gonzo, players you might have for Man United?
I tell you, I saw one. Saw a really good player. I think his name might have been Garnacho Ferreira, something like that. Well, he was good. I mean, I wasn't expecting to see that. Really, really good winger, left winger. Very good, Geo. Very good. Youngster. I think they might have poached him from Atletico Madrid a couple of seasons ago. Didn't know he was, so I went and had a little look. Argentinian winger. Very good. Very good. I think he'd be really interesting to watch. Doubt he'll start against us because there was a bit of rotation against Sheriff there. I think Dallow's playing reasonably well at right back, I've got to say. I think he looks okay as well. Casemiro's dropped in. I mean, I know you like him as well. He's making things tick there. I think he's getting a tune out of Rashford. I still think there's a lot to come from Sancho, I've got to say. you're not seeing whatever he was, 77, 80 million pounds worth of player there. I've probably got to say as well, he got a lot of stick. Anthony got a lot of stick for his. He looked like he was on a carousel. Have you seen it? Okay. I don't mind it. I'm not one of these people who gets annoyed with stuff like that. In the same way that when we had Paqueta doing his ball juggling, when we played, who did we play? It was Anderlecht, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Anderlecht.
When we played Anderlecht and Paqueta did his ball juggling and whatever his name was, Diarra wanted to kill him for daring to show a little bit of flamboyance. I don't like that. I don't like that thing about it's disrespectful. We're going to break his legs or whatever, because without players like that, you don't ever get a Ronaldinho who is.
I was just about to say, I grew up with Ronaldinho. That was like,
well, you was probably one of my favourite players ever to watch. Matthew Le Tissier as well. Forget about whether they're at your club. When they're not at your club, you're looking for someone to do something flamboyant and brilliant. And I thought, all right, leave him alone. Ultimately, the carousel move, it's probably got a different name, by the way. I'll call it the carousel. Ultimately, it was crap. Because it yielded nothing. It beat nobody.
The pass was crap. The move itself was really nice. It was really
beautiful.
Elegant.
It was like
a dance. His trademark move. He likes doing that.
It was like a dance. It was lovely, yes. But ultimately, there was no assist. There was no goal. It was crap. But it was really good to watch. Getting a tune out of Rashford, I think, is one of these most impressive things, actually. I think he looks like a player reborn. He needed to do it, Rashford. He needed to concentrate on his football. I feel he's doing that now. And he now looks again fit and fast and sharp and athletic and real powerful shot, and he scored against Sheriff, of course. So many players to admire at Man U.
I think there's a few players blowing hot and cold at times. At times, Rashford and Sancho and Bruno Fernandes, Christian Eriksen as well look really good in other games. They look bang average again. And I guess it's about Ten Hag trying to improve the consistency of these players' performances. But Eriksen's somebody at the start of the season, particularly when they went in, he had a nightmare against Man City. One of the worst performances I've seen from a centre midfielder in the league. But he really does make them tick sometimes, and he just makes the difficult look easy. It's so effortlessly, and I quite enjoy watching players like that play usually, that can just stitch the game together, just the architect, if you like. And adding Casemiro next to him at Stamford Bridge made a big difference as well, because he's a big upgrade on McTominay and Fred. And I'm a big McTominay fan, but Casemiro is just that class above. I think the centre back pairings work really well. Varane and Martinez too. They've come in and really made Man United better defensively. They've often been a shambles and a bit of a laughing stock, but the pair of them, obviously Varane's out now, so it'll be Lindelof playing there next to Martinez, but I do think the pair of them were really, really good when playing together. And I have to agree with Dalot. I think he's really come on leaps and bounds, and he's been quite impressive getting forward from that right back position as well. So anyway, enough about Man United. Shall we discuss West Ham?
Yes, mate.
Right, some team news. There's quite a bit of it, actually. Kone's had a setback, so we're unlikely to see him at Old Trafford. While Aguerd played for West Ham on Thursday night, David Moyes has suggested there's no way he will play. However, I was listening to his comments, Gonzo, and I don't know. He's not as definitively ruled out as you made on earlier on today when did he play.
I heard different. Different.
You were saying, could I put him on the bench? Yes, I could. Should I? Possibly. Will I? I'm not too sure about that. So I don't know. I think it depends on the variability of others, I think, as to whether he's in Manchester or not. We're unsure on Craig Dawson. We haven't really had a confirmation whether he's fit or not, but for the sake of this preview, Gonzo, I think we'll include him because I've got a feeling that he might be available. Jared Bowen had a concerning ankle injury prior to Thursday, but after Thursday, it was we'll assess him in the morning, Friday morning. So again, for the sake of the preview, we'll include Jared Bowen. I've got a feeling he should be okay for that one. And as for Lucas Paqueta, again, we're just unsure. He had a very weird injury, but Moyes said he's touch and go for the game at Man United. But again, for the sake of the preview, we'll include Paqueta. So we could have quite a few players returning, Gonzo, but we could also have quite a few players missing as well. We'll have to wait and see. Right, formation-wise, what would you like to see?
4 at the back.
It's got to be 4 at the back for me. It's got to be. Fabianski in goal?
No, Areola in goal. Was my team.
Oh, you flip-flopping again? You're going back to your flip-flopping?
Why not? Why not, hey? Got the luxury of 2 quality goalkeepers.
Your back 4, talk me through.
The back 4 would be Kehrer at right back, would be Dawson at centre half, next to Zuma, and then Cresswell at left back.
If Aguerd was fit, right? If Moyes said, "Yeah, he can play it," would you play him?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
With whom? Because I'm getting a bit of an idea as to what you think our first choice defense is when everybody's fit and firing. So this is where
I would play Kehrer. No, sorry, I was about to say Kehrer. I would play Aguerd. It's a good one. I like it. At the moment, Aguerd and Dawson in a 2.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I agree with that, actually. I think they should complement each other quite well. Dawson's actually, strangely, in the last 6 months or so, been our best passer of the centre-backs as well out of them. I know Kehrer has been, but I agree with your back four for Old Trafford. Kehrer, Dawson, Zuma and Erik Caswell. Moving into midfield, how would you like to see us line up?
Declan Rice and Flynn Downs as the...
No Souček?
No.
Oh, I think he's got to play, Gonzo. I think you've got to go back to their game against Chelsea, and that was huge for sort of deciding what I think West Ham should do for this game. And for those that haven't seen it, Chelsea started the game with 3 at the back, as they sometimes do under Potter, Cucurella left centre-back and Chilwell left wing-back, 2 in the middle. And Man United were just dominating the game. They couldn't get near. Casemiro was just running Stamford Bridge. He had basically Fernandes and Eriksen. Fernandes and Eriksen were just pushing the Chelsea centre midfielders back. Loftus-Cheek and Jorginho couldn't get anywhere near Casemiro. So he was just pulling all the strings. So much so that Potter had to make a sub in the 35th minute or something. He had to take Cucurella off and get Kovacic on there. He had to pack up that midfield. And then Chelsea went on to dominate the game and it finished 1-1. But that's a lesson. I think you need 3 centre midfielders on the pitch on Sunday. I think there's a warning there for David Moyes, which is if you turn up with 2 centre midfielders and you don't get near Casemiro, we're going to rip you to shreds in the middle of the pitch. And I've seen us concede possession far too easily in recent weeks, and at times it's acceptable, but there's other times it's unacceptable. And I think we've got the 3 in the middle. So for me, it's Downs, Rice, and Souček. I think we need to turn up to Man United, make sure we're strong in the middle of the pitch. Otherwise, we're asking for trouble, I think.
I hear what you're saying, but
you don't care.
No, I don't. I hear what you're saying. No, but I would like Downs and Rice with Paqueta in front of them. That would be my choice to face Man United, because I think you can get at them basically.
Well, I think I know the rest of your team then, but talk me through it for the sake of it.
Yeah, well, it's obviously Bowen on the right, Benrahma on the left, and Scamacca up front. And I'd like to see us go for it. Varane is missing now. That was a massive part. I want to see Scamacca up against Martinez. I don't subscribe to this metamorphosis. It's suddenly, but I never subscribed to the fact he was useless at the start. Anyway, everyone was calling him a useless hobbit. I
think everybody was just making jokes about his height. I don't think anyone was calling him useless per se.
People were calling him useless. There's no doubt about it. Man United have mucked up. Why have they bought this player? He shouldn't be playing in position. There was a lot of that, and I didn't particularly subscribe to that. I think he's probably a really, really good footballer, and we've seen good vertically challenged centre backs before in our time. So I
think he's actually got the best win rate in the air out of centre backs. It's better than like Ruben Diaz and Laporte in that anyway. He's got a really good leap on him, while he might not be the tallest, and when they go for the ball, I think he's actually gets significant height on it.
I don't think he's useless, but I mean, again, if someone's going to tell me he can jump higher than Scamacca can, who's 6'5", I'll just call him a liar, basically, or whatever the game, or mistaken. Let's go with mistaken.
Well, this is the problem. He might be able to get higher off the ground, but Scamacca's already got a 7-inch head start on him, which is
absolutely.
You need to leap 8 inches higher than I do in order.
And Scamacca is stronger as well. So I want to create that contest. I mean, we spoke about it. When what was his name? What's his first name?
Yeah, Kiefer Moore came on and went up against Kehrer and stay away from Kurt Zouma.
Which is the right thing, the sensible thing to do. We used to talk about it with Chris Woods against Cresswell, So it's time for us to do a bit of that, and I think we should, and I think we've got to sort of play into that. So I want to attack them, and nobody links up with Scamacca quite as well at the moment as Paqueta does. So that I want him in the team. I totally get your point, and
I think I might change my mind, to be fair, though, actually. Because, well, what I will add, Scamacca did that against Wolves. Scamacca stayed away from Kilman and just went up against Ruben Neves, who was playing centre-back. He said, I'm not going to... Why would I go up against a centre-back? There's no point. I'm just going to go up against this guy here, and I'm just going to dominate him. And he did. The link-up play between him and Jared Bowen was fantastic on that day, and a large part of that was just intelligent play by Scamacca, striker play by Scamacca, which is go up against a guy that's out of position. I think I might change, actually, and agree with your team here, because the reason being, when I'm thinking about it, Paqueta does work hard. Paqueta can sit on Casemiro, and you could argue that would benefit us having him man-marking Casemiro to some extent. And we tried that on the first game of the season. We had Lanzini trying to man-mark Rodri. Now, while that worked, Lanzini did man-mark Rodri. The problem was Cancelo and Kyle Walker came into centre midfield, and Lanzini's looking around going, well, so what are we doing here then, Gaffer? And we didn't know. Moyes after the game said, I've not seen that, but I was not prepared for that. I didn't know what to do. And they dominated the middle without Rodri having to get involved, kind of thing. But we did, I feel anyway, we started the game with Lanzini's intention to stop Rodri getting on the ball and dictating it. And I think having Paqueta do that to Casemiro might actually work. And he does work hard, Paqueta. He is willing to put the graft in and put the tackles in and stuff. So, yeah, actually, I'm going to change my mind, which is a first for me. I'm usually pretty stubborn, so I'm going to agree with your team. I'm going to steal it and go with Bowen, Ben Ramos, Scamacca.
You're welcome. I don't care if you steal it. I want David Moyes to steal it.
Well, that's my next question. Do you think he will?
No.
Well, will we see a mindset change from David Moyes going to Old Trafford to trot out the horrible statistic in the Premier League? David Moyes has been away manager at Anfield, Stamford Bridge, Old Trafford, and the Emirates 69 times and 1-0. He's never won away to Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Man United in the Premier League. He's beaten Tottenham and Man City away, in fairness, but he's never won at Old Trafford.
Yeah, but you made the point in your video. They weren't, whilst they had to take over Man City, they weren't in full billionaire Man City mode at that time. He's changed it since.
Yeah, he hasn't. The last 8 visits there, he's drawn 1 and lost 7.
Yeah, so he lacks ambition. When I would like to see more from Moyes on this one. Do I think he will? So to answer your question, not particularly, but it doesn't mean we cannot find success in this game, by the way. Look, even a broken clock's correct twice a day, as they say. So at some point, his defensive tactics will yield a result away from home. At some point, we will keep a clean sheet and score a couple of goals on the break. It will happen. I'm thinking more personal pride here, actually. David Moyes will feel, and so he should, that he should have been afforded more time at Manchester United. Now, I'm not saying Moyes would have got it right at Manchester United, but I don't blame him as a professional man to look at the time afforded to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, to look at the time afforded to Van Gaal, and actually think, well, why didn't I get a little bit more time? There were times when those managers really struggled and they kept their jobs. So I would expect him, from a little professional pride, to want to go and show the hierarchy at Old Trafford that they made a mistake. And I would expect anybody to do that going back to their former employer, regardless of job. It doesn't have to be football. And because of that, I just want to see a little bit of that. So I want to see a little bit of ambition. I want to see him really go for the game. And you know what? He is going to try and win it. It's just whether you believe his tactics are able to do that. We know he's going to try and win it because he's rested in the European game. He's done that with Old Trafford in mind. He wants to go there. He wants to win the game. We just wonder whether his tactics are going to be so negative that they don't. But make no mistake about it. As much as we all think we're going to sit back, and they're going to score a goal against us, David Moyes thinks we're going to sit back, we're going to score a goal on the break, and we're going to win 1-0. That's what he thinks.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, actually. Does he intend to win it? He does. It's just the methods in doing so, which heavily relies on keeping a clean sheet for an hour, really. You know, we saw at Liverpool. It's a very recent game as well. It's not like you're going back 2 years to pluck out this example. which is we tried to keep it tight for an hour. We took the shackles off a little bit. We didn't throw the kitchen sink at them or anything, but we took Benrahma on, went a little bit more offensive and caused Liverpool some problems. However, it wasn't enough on the night because A, we couldn't bloody score, and B, we were already 1-0 down when we decided it was now time to go at Liverpool. And that's the problem, really. His methods of trying to win this game heavily relies on keeping a clean sheet, because will we set up flamboyant enough where we're going to score 2 goals against this Man United team? I'm not too sure. I think we might get 1 at most. Therefore, to win the game, we cannot afford to concede a goal for this one. And I think that's the problem. Will the mindset change? Not really. I think he believes in what he's doing. He'll look at the Liverpool game and think we were a little bit unlucky. And something, there is an argument there. We were unlucky not to score in the first half, and we were unlucky not to score in the second half. We missed a penalty and stuff like that. But so it almost justifies his tactics for that evening. He'll come away saying, "Oh, we were close to getting something out of that game." But what you do is you remove the context of Liverpool, who followed that result up with a defeat away to Nottingham Forest. This was not a good Liverpool team to play. Man United are currently in better form today than Liverpool were when we played them at Anfield, in my opinion. And I think Man United are probably going to be a tougher game for that reason. Are you confident?
No. I think you can't. There's no evidence for confidence. However, I've got a little. I don't know. There's something in the back of my mind. A little something stirring in the tea leaves. Little feeling in my water, so to speak.
Probably get us into.
I will. I'll make the phone. I'll make the appointment straight after this. I don't know. There's something positive. I've got a positive demeanour about me, Geo. I've not written this one off.
There is a few positives to take into the game, though. We are in good form, whether you want to say, but it's only a Conference League or whatever. It's 8 wins out of 11 or whatever, 5 wins out of 5 in the Conference League. We're in good nick at the minute, results-wise. Maybe not performance-wise. I wouldn't say that we are, and it has been a little bit boring and tedious at times. But results-wise, we're doing not too bad. You look at the Premier League form table, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 defeat in 5. We're doing okay points-wise in the Premier League table recently. It's better than Man United, I think. Well, it's the same. Man United have also drawn 1-2 and lost 1 in the last 5. So we've got very similar form going into this. We've got good players. The players we talk about, of course, we're relying on them being past fit. Scamacca, Paqueta, Benrahma in the last couple of games. Flynn Downs is looking like he can step up to this level. Declan Rice. Yeah. We've got good players going into this game. It's just a case of he's got all the ingredients. Can he come up with a recipe? And that's what stops you being confident, I think. I think it allows you to be optimistic, because are we capable of going to Old Trafford and getting something in regards to the players that we've got? Yes, of course we are. Yes, we are. But will we? And this is where it comes down to the tactics employed by the manager, the team selection employed by the manager, because we've just said, well, you've said the team you like to see, and I'm copying it. But will that be the team? It won't be. We know we will see Souček in there, and we know there's a possibility we'll see Pablo Fornals in there as well, and it'll be a bit more defensive than what me and you would like. That may work, it may not work, but because we've seen it not work, it stops you being confident. Can I get any final words from yourself, as well as your score prediction, please?
Yeah, I mean, you can forget that. If what we see is the team lineup and it is Souček, Rice, and Downs in the middle, and he decides to play Fornals on the left wing, I think that's I'll be really unhappy with that. I got to say.
Would you be okay with Souček, Downs, and Rice, but Benrahma, Bowen, and Scamacca, for example?
Well, that's what he is going to do. That will be the team. So if everyone's fit, that's the team. That's the 3 in central midfield, and those are the 3 in front. He might do something different in defence. The right back might alter slightly, But yeah, that will be the team. I will be annoyed with that. It has to be said, because I don't think it gives us the best chance of winning. I don't think it gives us. I think it kills our counter-attack having Fornals there on the left. It kills it, dead, stone dead. Basically, the counter-attack then has to come centrally or down the right, and we're crap down the right. You can't shut down the most creative hub of our team, which is down the left-hand side. So Benrahma has to start. What was your other question?
What's your score prediction?
1-1.
I think I could be spreading misinformation here. However, I saw something earlier on in the week that said when you compare West Ham's fixtures this season that we've played thus far to last season's, when we picked up the points last season, but disregarding the promoted clubs. I mean, we've won one and lost one, but disregard them because actually they weren't in the league last season. But when you compare our fixtures to last year, I think we're 7 points worse off this season. That's a lot. That's a lot of making up ground to do. Therefore, you're going to have to pick up points somewhere that you did not pick up points last season if you wish to achieve the same thing, which we do. We want to finish 7th again. It looks unlikely. It looks like it's going to be the 6 plus Newcastle this season. It's going to be difficult. But if we want to finish 8th, we're going to have to do damn good as last season. So you're going to have to get those points from somewhere. And Old Trafford's one of those places where if you can't get a point, it could be massive come the end of the season. You've got a visitor there.
No.
Is he coming to curse David Moyes' tactics?
I've got to say, that one probably favours the 3 at the back more. So he's probably more aligned with David Moyes. It's the other one, Bubbles, who's more... Bubbles offensive. Is more 4-4-2 and defensive, yes.
So no, I'm not confident, Gonzo. I'm going to say Man United. I'm going to say Man United 2, West Ham 1. I think we're going to see Moyes' let's not get beat tactics, and I think we will end up ironically getting beat because he's playing those tactics.
Sure.
But if you somehow enjoyed this preview, please do drop a like, comment, subscribe if you're new to Hammer's Chat. Nearly 28,000 subscribers. It'd be nice to hit back today. We'll be live at 3:25 on Sunday afternoon with our live build-up show, watch along, and followed by our live review at full time as well. We'll catch you then.